All right, we are live and it is Filmworld's 100th video. Welcome and thanks for joining us. So, to start off, welcome to this live broadcast. Let's see, I'm going to be answering your questions live. Let's get some questions rolling. All right, and make sure that you just do it in the chat box on the side of the video. All right. Now, to start off, I would just like to say that over the, let's do some statistics. Filmworld has been around since January 2014, and through that time, we've gotten 2,400 plus subscribers, and it's growing every week. It's been fantastic, you know. And on top of that, the channel views is, over 150,000, I believe. Actually, oh no, reaching more near 200,000. So it's getting pretty high up there. And let's get into some more statistics. Kind of some fun stuff. Let me see. All right. The #1 video on Filmworld is still Premiere Prep Episode 1. And that's how to make a lightsaber in Blender. It's got over, I believe, 60,000 views. So that one's doing pretty good. So are some other ones. Got several others that are at 10,000, 8,000, etc., etc. And then let me see. All time. All right, so over the life of Filmworld, gotten, 2,227 likes and 241 shares. Let me see, this is actually a little bit outdated, it seems, because the subscriber count's not even correct. That's how it goes on the network's website that takes a little while to update sometimes. All right, and it's just really been fantastic, guys. I can't thank you enough. It's been one heck of a ride so far, and we've got a lot to go. Okay, let me see. Angel Agudo Guerrero. Sorry if I spelled that wrong, or pronounced that wrong. He says he's having a lot of lag. I'm sorry. Let me see. I'm not sure if I can get the bitrate any lower while streaming. Let me see. Yeah, I think I can change the bitrate. Let me try this. There's not a whole lot I can do about that, I'm afraid. So it is kind of what it is for this. There is some more that I could do as far as optimizing, but not too much to my knowledge. All right, so let's get into some questions. Make sure you guys start asking questions now. Be really cool. Answer some live for you guys. So we have been on a break for Premiere Prep Season 3 for about a month and a half, almost 2 months now, and it will be coming back within the next couple of weeks. I'm hoping within 2 weeks we will be back to Season 3. And I want to start off with a little bit of a bang. Michael and I, with another friend of ours, filmed a video. There was a lightsaber fight almost a year ago now. And we're finally getting to the point of completing that, mostly just because it just sat for a little while, and I'm finally now getting to post-production on it and finishing up post-production. And that will kind of be a little bit of an opener for the return to Season 3. And then after Season 3 even, when we go on the break in between Season 3 and Season 4, there's going to be a lot of really cool stuff that's going to happen in between there that will prepare for Season 4 to make it the best season yet. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. But of course, we've got the rest of Season 3 to go. All right, so let me see. And again, I am sorry if there's any lag. Hopefully you can hear the audio okay. That was a problem with the when I interviewed John Hess, I had a different laptop, and it just the whole interview went horrible because of how bad the laptop was. But now I've got a newer laptop that actually seems to be handling this pretty okay. I'm only at nearly 20% CPU usage. So this is pretty good. The internet I'm on is also, it's not mine, which means it's actually okay. But let me see. Something that may help you guys a little bit if there is still some lag for you is to maybe press pause for a second and then push play again. All right, and got some people watching. It's great. Thank you guys very much. Also, an update on the Film World website. Within the next couple of weeks, maybe, really I want to do it right at the return of Season 3. I want to be releasing Film World's website. And if you haven't seen it yet, I will try to post a link to it at some point, probably on the Google Plus page or whatever, for you guys to see. It's actually looking pretty good. I'm liking the looks of it. It'll definitely be a great little hub for all things Film World. And yeah, I think it'll be a whole lot of fun and definitely add a new element to Film World that we haven't had really since it started. Let me see. The first episode of Film World was uploaded. Let me check this out here. Let's get it down to the day. Actually, not episode. Let's say first video. Let me see. Well, let me cycle like that. Let's go into a little bit of Film World's past, and then we can get into a little bit of its future. Film World obviously started in 2014, as I have stated, but it was just a single show channel for a while called Film World, and the show was Film World. And then I decided I wanted to add some different shows at some point down the road and probably get on more people and all that kind of stuff, so I decided to make Film World the channel, and Premiere Prep was the anchor show. And something that has been great about that is not only has it opened it up to more shows, it also opens up to more types of content. Maybe even in the future some, movie review type shows. I don't exactly know where all it could go, but something about a channel system like this is you can really open it up to be something very diverse in its content type. Now, something too is when I do return back to Season 3, something I will be doing as well is I'm not going to be, it's not launching it, but I will be relaunching, if you will, a channel that I've already had for a little while called MicroMaster Studios. And I haven't really done anything on there, mostly because it's just all been Film World. But what I've decided that I want to start doing is making some test videos and things of that nature, and start posting them on the MicroMaster Studios YouTube channel. And then the tutorials and basically everything that Film World is will stay the way it is, but then it will become the hub for all the test videos and things of that nature. Things that aren't necessarily just something that anybody would like to watch, really, which will help get the name out more about Film World and everything. So that'll be great within the near future. Let me see. Okay, so I found where I can cycle it. There we go. The first video, it just says 2 years ago. Come on. Click on it. The first video was uploaded January 17th, 2014. That was a while ago. All right. Oh, we got some questions. Let's definitely get into these. Okay. Blender, question mark. This is from Angel Argudo Giero. I'm sorry if I butchered the pronunciation. Okay. So, Blender, question mark. He says, hi, nice to meet you. Sorry, my bad connection. Where do you get the ideas for your tutorials? How long have you been using Blender? Well, the ideas I get from my tutorials, a lot of them are from you guys, actually. Probably about 50% of them, I would say. If not, maybe even a little bit more, up to 60%. And other ones are just things that I've wanted to do for a while. Like for instance, like the lightsaber video. Obviously, I couldn't get a suggestion for that because that was episode 1. And it's just, I figured out how to do it in Blender, and I just wanted to make a tutorial on it, and I thought it would be a great opener for Film World. But I also get ideas from watching movies and things of that nature and seeing, okay, they did this effect. Let me see if I can recreate it, and I'll show you guys how to do it as well. Other things, just learning things through the past. Like right now, I'm working at a TV station. Things I learned there, I can bring over into film world. It's just been really great. But also with Blender, how long have I been using it? Well, let me see. Film World is over 2 years old now. Wow, going on 3. And so I've been using it probably about 5 or 6 years. No, it's been about 7 or 8. It's been going by. Time has, but it's. I started off using my first compositing software is called Composite Lab Pro by FX Home, and it was a great little compositor. It was layer based, kind of like After Effects, if you will. But I found out about Blender just as a 3D tool, and I was like, I'll give that a try. And so I started using it a little bit, and I found out about other capabilities like compositing and motion tracking came further on. I remember when motion tracking got added, I was so happy. But so, yeah, it's probably been about 7 or 8 years since I've started using it. And it's actually not the first one I've used for compositing and stuff, but it is the first one I use for any 3D work. But it's been a fantastic tool. And again, if you guys haven't used Blender yourselves, I highly recommend you check it out and give it a fair shot. It is absolutely phenomenal. It's being used on a lot of feature films now, which has just been great. And Blender is definitely a big subject on the channel. Alright, so let me see. What is your favorite project that you have worked on? If you're talking about like Film World project, favorite episode, an episode that does kind of stick out to me as being fun to do was the matte paintings episode that I did back in Season 2. I believe it was episode 16 or 17 of Season 2. And the reason why that one was so much fun was because not only am we working with matte paintings and stuff, which I personally just love working with matte paintings and things of that nature. Visual effects techniques like that are just awesome to me. But also I went into the history of it. I went back and found some archived footage and things like that of people who have used matte paintings through the past. And I was able to take that and use as kind of like a history tutorial for that episode. So that was a whole lot of fun. That's probably been one of my favorite Film World projects. But something about that's the only video so far that has been claimed for copyright infringement or whatever, which I thought I covered by putting sources and all that kind of stuff, but it's the only one that's happened, and I'm like, okay, that's never got to happen again. But I don't know if I should have felt honored or bad that Paramount Studios contacted me. So yeah, that was definitely one that sticks out as far as Film World project. But on the side, I did one called Red Knight. It was a short film. I did visual effects for that. I was kind of the visual effects supervisor. That was pretty fun. I've also done some freelance work for a couple of realty things and all that. But really, fun is, again, getting back to Film World, and really of all time, it probably would have to be that matte paintings episode. That was just a whole lot of fun to do. All right. And that question was from, let's see, Sean Jones. And thank you for answering that question. And thank you to all you guys for answering those questions. Okay, also from Angel Agudo Guerrero, he says, do you do professionally to world effects? Is it a hobby? Well, actually, it has been almost exclusively a hobby, if you will, for the past couple of years, but mostly because I was too young to actually get into the industry and everything. But I've done freelance work for probably about 3 or 4 years now. But recently, I got into a job at a TV station locally, and I'm doing that professionally, which has been phenomenal as far as growing and all that kind of stuff. And something that's been great about Film World is using it as an excuse to really grow my abilities and everything. And that's just been one of my favorite things about Film World. All right, and now next question. Let me see. Kyler Zinn says, do you know where the Phantom Clowns are? No, I don't. I think I know what you're talking about, but even if I did, I don't. Okay, next question. Let's see. All right. That's starting to get off into a fun little thing right there. So, let's see, what else can we get into? So those are some questions. Definitely keep them coming because I will keep answering them throughout this broadcast. It's definitely a lot of fun doing this with you guys. So Season 3 being continued, what kind of stuff do I want to do? Well, I want to do more DIY builds. That's a big thing I want to do for the rest of Season 3 and especially for the Season 4. I love doing DIY builds, and they're definitely something that I think you guys love as well. Now, I need ideas for those DIY builds, so make sure you get your ideas in for those to be built, and I will have to start testing them. I'll have to start creating plans and all that kind of stuff to actually get those to you. Let me see. Okay, Angel Agudo Guerrero says, what pushed you to make video tutorials? Well, mostly it was kind of, I wanted to do like a film school kind of thing, and I was learning a lot of stuff on my own, and I wasn't able to go to film school, but I wanted something that would kind of make me go for something instead of just making stuff on my own time, all things like that. Because then I'd just be kind of sitting back and probably get a little lazy and not touch it for, a little while. I wanted something that would really push me to extend my creative boundaries, and that's when I started looking at the idea of video tutorials and stuff like that on YouTube. And Filmworld was actually not the original one. I created one called Unlocking Media Secrets, and it never really got off the ground because I didn't really just like the whole idea of it. I made it kind of a cool opener where it had like film reels falling and a safe opened, and it just all film reels sitting in there and stuff like that. So I got pretty far in it, but I never actually took it to air because it didn't feel right to me. So I started working on Film World, and for about 6 months, 7 months or so, I was just planning it. I started making some logos, getting ideas, working on episodes and stuff like that. And then, of course, I uploaded the first video, which don't go back and watch. It's horrible. But so something that's really what it was mostly, is I wanted something that would really make me go and try to extend my boundaries. I mean, obviously I can do short films and all that kind of stuff, and I knew that at the time, but I was 17 and all that kind of stuff when I started. So I really wanted something that would really just force me to do it, and that's really the story of it right there. So yeah, that's pretty much all there is to it. I really wanted something to do of that sort. Let me see. All right, and I'm still waiting for some more questions, guys, after that, so make sure you keep them rolling. Okay, I'm not sure how long of a difference there is from, like, the last video I did, there's about 20, like, I could clap, and I would finally see it uploaded 20 minutes later. I don't think there's that long of a lag here. I think it's probably more like, I don't know, it seems like about 5 minutes or so right here. So I will keep questions coming and keep asking them because they will come within the next 5 minutes or so. All right. Kyler Zinn asks, how's your job? And I would like to say thank you for asking that. I love to see that you guys care about that. I mentioned on I think it was the last video I uploaded before this, that I had gotten a job at a local TV station, and if you're unaware, that's what he's asking about. It's going good. It's been a lot of learning as far as coding shows and going live and all that kind of stuff, but it's been a lot of fun, that's for sure. The people I'm working with have been absolutely fantastic, and I'm really expanding my boundaries also to live broadcast, which is definitely a different beast than, you go from, in narrative filmmaking, you go from, pre-production, production, post-production. In live broadcast, you're basically going pre-production, pre and post. Production and post-production all smacked into one. And so it's pretty hectic at times, but it's really cool, and you can also learn from that and pull that over into, pre-production, production, post-production. So it's definitely been going great, and thanks for asking. Oh, Sean Jones says, Matte Paintings was one of your better ones. Thank you. I seriously love that one. It was just a fun episode to make. The Matte Paintings episode was. From Season 3, here I want to ask you guys this question, and I'm sure the answers will come in about 5 minutes or so because of the lag. But what is your favorite Film World episode, or Premiere Prep episode, I should say, from Season 1, 2, or 3? My personal favorite, really of all the episodes, the Matte Paintings does kind of stick out because I had so much fun with that one, but I don't know, that last one I did on resolution was a fun one to do. It was a subject that, it's kind of a basic one that a lot of people really need to know and don't know the details of, which was a lot of fun to do. So that one was definitely fun. Yeah, so what is your favorite Premiere Prep episode? And I will give the results after they come in. Let me see. So also, this is actually pretty cool. I'll show you my screen in a second once I get it up and everything. If you have not seen, hold on. Alright, so as you may know, Kdenlive is my preferred video editor. It's just absolutely fantastic. It does a great job, and it's absolutely free. And it's available on Linux, Mac, and they're working on a Windows version right now. As you can see here, this is their new website. It's really, really well made. It looks very professional. It looks like something even Adobe would use or something of that nature. And it's just really great website. And if you haven't seen it already, definitely check it out. They've got so many things with the form, the user manual, all that kind of stuff. And you can go to features. And this is amazing to me. Some stuff I didn't even know that Kdenlive could do is mentioned right here. Obviously, I knew, it does multi-track video editing, but apparently it does ProRes and DNX HD and DivX. I mean, that's huge, especially in an open source video editor. I mean, obviously you get it in Premiere and stuff like that, but for Kdenlive to have it, that is really, really cool. Okay, let me see. And then you've got the titler. I think they've done some improvements too, and if you watch my review, you know that I am not a I was not a huge fan of Kdenlive's titling tool, but it does seem like they've got some improvements going to it, so I definitely need to check that out. When I've been doing titling, mostly I've been going into GIMP, making my title, and importing it into Kdenlive, and then animating it. Mostly, that's really just because I didn't like the titling tool very much. And if they've improved it, well enough, I really could see myself, giving it a try. But let me see, go back to this. Titler, oh, this was huge, the color wheels being added, I loved that. And if you are not familiar with Kdenlive, again, just go check it out. I mean, it's an absolutely phenomenal program. And again, it's absolutely free and really just great. I can't say anything else about it besides it's a fantastic tool and something I think everybody should at least know about and have tried at some point. Shotcut is another great option from the open source realm, but again, Premiere, Final Cut Pro, Edius, which I've been using at work some, all of them are just fantastic pieces of software, and really you can't go wrong anymore. Obviously, Windows Movie Maker, if that's all you've got and that's all you know how to use, you can definitely do some stuff with that, but you're not going to get anything advanced with it. Sorry, but that's just kind of the way it is with Windows Movie Maker. But, I mean, there's so many great ones out there, and there's really no reason to say you have a bad video editor anymore, which is just absolutely fantastic, and I love it. All right, let's get to some more questions. We got some more in. And again, let me see if the results of the episode question is in. Okay, so question. All right. The next question is from Sean Jones. He asks, have you planned on doing more original narrative work? One thing I have never seen is a short film from pre to post mastering. This is a good question. I'm part of a film group locally and all that kind of stuff, and I'm really, really trying to get stuff off the ground. The hard thing is, again, life happens. You got to deal with people's schedules and things of that nature. Budgeting is another thing. Just time budgeting is the biggest problem. But I've got so many things on plan. I've got a project called Cut, which I think I've mentioned before, which got about 60% off the ground, and then I had to cut it again. No pun intended. And so I do have plans. To answer your question very quickly, yes, I do have plans, and they're coming as soon as possible. This lightsaber video, I'm hoping, even though it's not technically narrative, because it doesn't really have much of a story, I'm hoping that'll kind of be a good little opener again to get back into that sort of thing. Don't watch it, but a while back I did a video called Journey Through Space and Getting Hit by an Asteroid. That was a test video for shooting with miniatures. which I want to redo, which is another subject coming up in just a minute. Um, and it was a lot of fun to make, and it was kind of funny to watch, but that's definitely not what I can do. I can do so much more than that video, and I hate that that's the extent of my the extent of what I've shown you guys, and it's coming. It really is. Big projects. I don't want to upload some of my older stuff just because I've grown so much since then. I don't want that to be what you guys see me for, but it is definitely coming, and the stuff that will be coming is stuff that I can definitely say I am proud of. All right, so next question comes from Nicholas Hamilton. He asks, what is your favorite band? Well, that depends on what genre you're talking about, because I like a lot of different bands, like a lot of different genres. Music is something fun to listen to, for sure. More of a movie guy, obviously, but definitely do love listening to a good song. And my favorite band, I love me some Skrillex. Dubstep is just a lot of fun to me. AWOL Nation, Sail is probably my favorite song of all time. So, yeah, it might have to be something like that. I can't really decide one particular one. Deadmau 5 is great. Yeah, you can't really narrow it down because it's like, each one has their own strengths. Skrillex, I love their consistency of great songs. AWOL Nation has one of my favorite songs of all time, Sail. Yeah, so thanks for that question. Definitely a fun one. Let me see. Next question is from Sean Jones again. He says, have you planned... Oh, sorry, that's the same one I've already answered. Let me see. Okay, so from Angel Agudo Guerrero, he says, which is your arsenal of tools to create videos? You use free software. You use free software, ? Open source, ? And I'm bad at inflecting like that, so bear with me with the question mark statements. Yes, I do use almost exclusively open source software, mostly because I'm on Linux and that's just what's available, and it does a fantastic job. But the other reason is I do love the idea of open source. The fact that so many people are working together to make an amazing piece of software for us to use. They're giving it to us for free, and obviously it takes, money and all that kind of stuff to make it, but it's being given to us for free, and the software is absolutely fantastic. I mean, look at Blender. Blender is a project that started in I believe it was the late 90s, and today it's been used for previs on Captain America Civil War. It was used to add an entire character on Warcraft. Hardcore Henry used it for many major, more advanced projects. That's just phenomenal from an open source program, and it's seeing so much more development than ever before. They just hired more full-time coders, and it's just been like, I can't believe that Blender is doing such a fantastic job, and they're going so far. And so I see almost no reason not to go with open source. I'm not limiting myself. That's the great thing about it, is I'm not limiting myself by using open source. In fact, I'm opening myself up. I can easily send questions to the developers to ask them to add features, and if they can't make it, somebody else in the community can. I mean, it's just the fact that I'm not a coder personally, so the fact that I can view the code and everything is nice, but I personally don't have any use for it, even though I would like to learn code, especially like Python. But the fact that anybody can take this software and make it better than it already is just awesome to me. I love the whole idea of it. GIMP is another great example, along with Krita. I mean, like Krita, for instance. Take a look at that. It is literally an open source Photoshop, and like I've been using Photoshop and all that at work, especially lately. And the more I use Photoshop, the more I'm like, Krita and GIMP, either one of them can do a lot of the same things. So it's like, and they're free, and they just do great, and it's community built. I mean, I just don't really see a whole lot of reason to go for paid software. Now, that's just my opinion. I want to let you know that. That is my opinion. That's just what I'm doing. You guys may prefer to use the Creative Cloud. You may prefer to use Final Cut Pro, Apple Motion, Fusion, which is free but not open source. Which again, I want to start using Fusion. I want to try to use it. It looks absolutely phenomenal. Natron is an open source option, but I digress. So if you guys want to use, I mean, obviously I can't tell you what to do, and it's just I don't blame you guys at all for using that paid stuff. I mean, it's phenomenal software. It really is. So I want to personally, I would love to use some Premiere and everything just so I know how to use it and all that kind of stuff. And again, the more software you use, the more rounded you are in your ability to use stuff you've never used before. So just go out and learn every bit of software you can, be it open source, closed source, paid, unpaid. It doesn't really matter. I mean, like a project like Lightworks, for instance, is free. Well, they have a free version and a paid version, but even the free version, it's not open source. You can't view the code personally. So, yeah. Let me see. I hope that answers your question. I know that was kind of a long one, but I do hope that answers your question. Let me see. Oh, also from the same guy. What is your workflow? Tips? Question mark. My workflow is actually pretty basic compared to a lot of people, I would say. The way I format my file structure, for instance, I made an episode on it, and I would typically go like this, but I can't add that live. But the way I format my file structure is pretty basic. You know, main folder branches off into, you know, visual effects shots, audio shots, raw footage, things like that. In the compositing, in the visual effects shots, I have composite files, raw files, you know, things like that. It's a very basic workflow that I use. Edited audio and raw audio, things like that. So you can go back and watch that video if you feel like watching it. Again, that's one that I've actually done a little bit of updating to. It's not out of date, but I have improved it a little bit, I would say, since then, which I might do a video on, which, again, I will get back to getting remaking episodes. But we'll get back to that in just a second. So my workflow, basically, I write the script, like for instance for Premiere Prep. I think every single episode of Premiere Prep Season 3, except for 2, has been fully scripted. So I write the script, first and foremost, after testing the subject if I need to, like maybe building a DIY object item, or testing a visual effects shot, things like that. And, you know, I'll write the script, then I'll basically just start filming. I'll set up my lights, camera. I've got my, you know, fully set up Premiere Prep set, which I'm sure you guys have seen if you are even watching this video. So I film it, ingest the footage into my computer, put it all into a raw file, and then my raw audio file, and I just start chopping it all up and adding it in. I mean, that would be a whole episode I would have to take. In fact, that might be a fun episode to do, my personal workflow in making an episode, because I can't really go into specifics on, especially with a live stream, on how exactly I start cutting and cropping and all that kind of stuff, and where I add transitions and titles and effects and all that kind of stuff. But I definitely could see an episode on that subject happening in the future. Thank you very much for that question. I really might do that. It's, yeah, it's actually a good idea. It's a good idea. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Let me see. Kyler Zinn asks, the Clamp Lights versus Softboxes episode, which is better? Okay, oh, that's his vote. All right, so that's his vote for his favorite episode so far. Clamp Lights versus Softboxes. That's Season 3, Episode 14. That one, man, that one I really enjoyed making, because never have I taken just two things that give you similar uses as tools and put them against each other. That's the first time I think I've ever done that in Film World, and it was a lot of fun. I shot the same things over and over again, one with clamp lights, one with softboxes, one with none, and yeah, that was a lot of fun, and I got to show off my car to you guys a little bit. I'll probably love that car a little too much, but so yeah, that was a fun episode. Let's see if anybody else has put in their their vote. Yes, Sean Joan says 3D into live action. Let me see. Used it on my class final. That really honors me right there. I mean, Man, that's pretty cool that you used that tutorial onto that. That was a longer one. I believe that was season 2, episode 1, if I'm not mistaken. That was a fun episode to do, but it was too long for what I typically like to do. And back then, I really was making about 20 to 30 minute episodes, which is good if you want really detailed, add this plus 12, really specific, I should say. If you want really, really, really specific long episodes are good, but for a lot of people, I think that from my experience personally hosting Film World, it seems that people tend to like the 7 to 12 minute episodes a little bit better. But 3D into live action, that was definitely a fun one, and that showed footage from the Jurassic Park video that Michael and I and several other people from my film group did. I think I actually made that video private because I didn't like it. Not the episode on how to do it, but the actual Jurassic Park video. And again, there's a whole story on that, and if you watch that episode on 3D into live action, you'll see the story. So many problems happened with that project. But yeah, that was definitely a fun one, and thank you for that vote. Let me see, anybody else have a vote on that? All right. So no, nobody else has any votes in right now, but let's get into some further questions. All right. We have from, let's see, from Nicholas Hamilton. He asks, do you play Minecraft? No. Should I? I I don't play a whole lot of video games or anything like that because my life is literally filmmaking. That's what I love. And also cars, which is probably kind of apparent by the car I own. I mean, I just love filmmaking. And if I'm not doing filmmaking, might be working on my car if I've got the free time to do either of those. So, yeah, I don't play Minecraft or really any other video games consistently. Team Fortress 2 is a lot of fun. I've played that every once in a while. I'll sit down with some friends and play Need for Speed or, Battlefield, something like that. But no, I actually never have played Minecraft. It does look really cool. My cousin plays it, and I think even has a YouTube channel of him playing it. Aha Paper, something like that. There's a little bit of a shout out for you, cousin. But no, I personally don't play Minecraft, but it definitely seems like a very interesting game. From what I hear, there's even story to it. Like some people add story into Minecraft, which is very interesting to me. Let me see. Also from Nicholas Hamilton. Oh, this is a good one. HitFilm versus After Effects. Big battle. All right. It really depends on what you want. I personally don't use either of those consistently. I've used After Effects very little. I've played with HitFilm a lot, but again, for me, I use so much of Blender that I personally don't use that software, so I'm probably not the best one to answer this question because I really haven't used the two extensively. I have used the two, but just not extensively. Blender has just been my compositor. I've used Natron a little bit. I want to use Fusion. I'm more of a node-based kind of guy. So ever since I left layer-based with HitFilm, I've just started using node-based, and I love it. There's something about it that just feels right for me when it comes to compositing. But so for HitFilm versus After Effects, just from what I know and looking at their abilities and everything, with the fact that you have Adobe Bridge, that way you can use Premiere Prep and After Effects as if they were one program almost, that's kind of like HitFilm's claim to fame, is the fact that it's a compositor and a video editor. But the fact that you have a standalone video editor and a standalone compositor with After Effects and Premiere, but they both work together almost seamlessly, that's where I've really got to say, I think After Effects might win. But that's only if you've got Premiere. So for an all-in-one tool, HitFilm might be better. But if you've got Premiere and After Effects with, Adobe Bridge and everything, I really think that After Effects might be the better option. But that's just me, and I haven't used it extensively myself. Somebody else might be better to answer that. So After Effects would probably win there. But compositors overall, it's Splinter, my friends. All right. Let's see. Oh, really fun question from Angel Agudo Guiaro. Again, I'm so sorry if I am butchering the pronunciation of that. I don't mean to. I really don't. He says, in some of your videos, out movie cover art, what are your... Oh, I think he's talking about the movie posters that I have in the background. I got a new one that you saw in the last video I uploaded, I think it was. It was Ferris Bueller's Day Off. And then I've got a new one coming in the mail, Mission Impossible Rogue Nation. I can't wait to have that one on the wall. Then again, I've got Vertigo and Back to the Future, and I've got Captain America Winter Soldier, blah, blah, blah. I love hanging movie posters up. There's just something fun about it. But so let's see, what are your 5 favorite films? And what are my favorite directors? I guess that would be 5 favorite directors as well. Well, 5 favorite directors, in no particular order, because I really can't choose. I often say Robert Zemeckis, just because I love a lot of his style that he did with Back to the Future and Forrest Gump and Castaway. But the fact that he's gone almost all CGI with like the Polar Express, I'm not a huge fan of all CGI films being treated like they're a live action film. But again, it's its own style, really. But okay, so first, top 5 directors in no particular order. Robert Zemeckis, Steven Spielberg, Alfred Hitchcock for sure. He's definitely in that list. Cycling through, there's so many good ones, but John and Anthony Russo, I really love what they've done with the Captain America franchise. They've done a fantastic job with that. So you really, they're do it together, so you have to clump them into one. And then the last one, oh, who gets that last spot? It would really have to be maybe Martin Scorsese. Martin Scorsese might get that. There's so many good ones. And Francis Ford Coppola, I mean, I could go on. But top 5, I might have to narrow it down to those 5 for my top 5 favorite directors. Now, top 5 favorite movies, again, you're asking me one of the most difficult questions I can answer. But it might have to be, see, Back to the Future. Vertigo is probably my favorite of all time, I think. Again, I can't really decide. What else would be in that top 5 list? Oh, you're killing me right now. Man, Mission Impossible? Any of them? Again, got to go through it. RoboCop, I loved RoboCop. And Pacific Rim, I mean, that was one of the... I consider Pacific Rim to be one of the modern greats as far as, like, a movie that wasn't really based on a book or anything. I think it might have been a graphic novel, but it seemed very original. So I consider that almost one of the modern greats when it comes to truly original cinematic work. There's also the Fast and Furious movies. I love those. Number 7, absolutely fantastic. The ending, I think it was the only movie where I've actually just truly cried at the end. But yeah, those might be my top 5 favorite. And I think I mentioned about 20 in the mentioning of that. You might have gotten confused as to which those are. So I'll just leave it at that because I really can't decide what my top 5 are. Another one I love big time is King Kong, hence my t-shirt, which you'll be seeing in Premiere Prep Season 3 when it returns. So let's move on to another question. Let me see. From John, let me see. Okay, here's something from Sean Jones. I think it's more of a statement than it is a question. You could do something like DSLR Guide did, where you explain your growth as a filmmaker through your older shorts. That's a good idea because I think he's speaking about when I said that I don't really want to show my older ones. But one, I've deleted several of them, unfortunately. That was back when I was like, I was 15 or whatever, and I ran out of hard drive space, so I just started deleting old stuff, and I didn't care about it then. And like, you don't know what I would give to see those or to have those again, even though I would hate them. But I would love to have that original work and everything of mine. But I really could, especially with like earlier film world stuff, especially, which I'll talk about that in just a second, talking about remaking episodes. Um, that is a good idea. I really could do that, um, especially with a couple of things that come to mind that I did in the past. I like that idea. Thank you very much for that, Sean Jones, or Sean. I'll just call you Sean. Let me see. This one comes from John Hamilton, or John. How's it going, John? He says, have you seen Trelby, a good free software for screenwriting? Have I seen it? Yes. Just to answer your question very short, let me see. I think I've got it installed. I recently installed Ubuntu Mate again. Let me see. Do I have Trelby installed right now? No, I don't believe so. I do on my desktop. I know that, and that's typically where I do a lot of my screenwriting, unless I'm on the road. But yes, I've heard of it. Absolutely phenomenal program. And if you guys haven't heard of Trelby, definitely go check it out. It's free, and it formats your scripts very professionally. It does a great job, and it can export as a .text file, which means it can be given to anybody, and it's got the formatting. It can be opened up in Notepad if you're on Windows, the Mac version, and Linux I think has something like Notepad. I've never. There's several versions, I'm sure, because you got one thing for Linux and you got 5 of them, if that makes sense. But yes, I have seen and I have used Trelby, and I absolutely love it. In fact, I think I wrote the Jurassic Park script. Yes, I did. I wrote the Jurassic Park script on Trelby. A fantastic program, and if you don't know about it, definitely check it out. And thank you for that question, John. All right. Lift your camera a bit. Your head's chopped off. It is a little bit. Thank you. Let's see. Fix my hair. That's probably why I had it chopped off. All right. Next question. Let's see. Okay, this is a really good one from, again, Angel Agudo Guerrero. And again, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing it. I'll probably say that every time, won't I? He says, I think I'm doing a lot of questions. Thank you for answering them. Smiley face. Or is that, yeah, that's a winky face. And he says, for one, no problem. Thank you for asking them. That's what this is all about. He says, inspiration, question mark. What inspires you? Well, it's the outcome. That's really what inspires me. I want to be, well, I'm not going to say I want to be, because I don't have dreams, I have future realities, and I got to go out and make them happen. And that's what inspires me. I really want, and I'm going to be, a filmmaker. That's pretty much all I can say about it. And Film World has been a great outlet to get myself out a little bit, push my boundaries, learn more, talk to you guys, talk to other, I've actually, through Film World, I've talked to some guys who have been stunt doubles on actual film sets that are now trying to start other companies and stuff like that. I've had job offers and all that kind of stuff. And it's just been absolutely fantastic, the fact that I've been able to interact with some of these people. I got to do a live broadcast with John Hess, which was absolutely fantastic. In the near future, I want to do one with the Frugal Filmmaker, Film Riot, Ryan Connolly. I want to do one with him. I want to do one with, maybe DSLR Guide. I want to do more live questions with other YouTubers and stuff. But that's really my inspiration. I'm going to be a filmmaker, and I've got to work to get there. And I'm not stopping until I get there. So that's really my inspiration. And if you want me to explain why I love filmmaking so much, that will be an entire video all on its own. Nicholas Hamilton says, I inspire him. And that's actually very true. The fans, you guys have just been absolutely phenomenal. And honestly, if it wasn't for the fact that you guys have given such a great response to Film World, it definitely wouldn't be possible without you guys. And your sharing, especially. Sharing videos is the #1 way you can help us out. So here's my question for you. Could you please go back to your favorite episodes and share them? That's the biggest way you can help. And of course, subscribing, commenting, whatever you guys do, just viewing. Thank you guys so much. And that truly it really does inspire me. You guys really do inspire me. So thank you. All right, so I hope that answers that question. You are going to cut off his. Just some fun bantering back and forth in the questions. Oh, this is a fun one. Kyler Zinn asks, "What car do you have?" My car is a 1985 Monte Carlo SS, and I recently had a 1975 Corvette engine put in. The baby can haul. It's a fun car. And if you haven't seen it, it's in the Clamp Lights versus Softboxes episode. But I do have, let me see, I do have a picture on here. Well, a picture. I've more like got 500 of them. But let me see. Find a good picture for you guys. Here's a picture I actually took in an airstrip. All right. And that is my baby. Yeah, I took that just a couple of weeks after I got her. Went to an airstrip that was opened up, and I just parked her right on there and took the photos, did a little bit of color grading. Little bit of enhancement because there's a little bit of a scratch right there. I had to take that out, but yeah, that's my baby. I love her. Probably more than I should. I say that every time I mention my car. I love her more than I should. But yeah, that's my car. Yeah. And let's get back to some more questions. Let me see. Do you play any instruments? I played the harmonica quite seriously when I was 8. And past that, I'm sorry, but I haven't. I really want to play the guitar, specifically the electric guitar. I really love that. But it's mostly time, you know? So many things I've wanted to do in the past and I've tried to do, but I keep coming to the fact that filmmaking is what I love, and film world takes a lot of time and all that kind of stuff. So it's like, that's my life, is filmmaking, film world. So no, I don't, to answer your question short, I don't play any instruments, but do you? That would be kind of interesting to see. I've also tried some music synthesization using LMMS, if you're not familiar, also a great program. And so I've played a little bit with that, making some like dubstep videos and music and stuff like that. And I haven't gotten extremely far, but I am getting to the point where I'm thinking maybe I will try doing that within the near future. Trying to make some of my own music and maybe giving you guys some of it, or finding some way to give different layers and everything so you can customize it using your own project. Kind of like what Film Riot, I believe, did or Triune Films, really. They did this like pack where you have all these different music parts and stuff like that, and you can make your own customized song by it. I think I might actually try to do that for you guys. Maybe that'd be a little ways down the road, especially considering I need to really learn it. But to answer your question in short, no, I don't know any instruments, but I definitely would like to. Nicholas. This question is from Nicholas Hamilton. He asks, have you ever been to jail? Okay, let's move on. No, I'm just kidding. No, I haven't. I think I've stepped in one because I was getting tags and it was like in my local office, the local something like that. I've seen one, but I've never been in one. I've managed to stay out of it so far, and I plan on not going in. Let me see. So Nicholas. All right. Nicholas Hamilton says, good, I hate Minecraft. To each his own. Let's see. Sean Jones says, let's see. The Jurassic Park video was the best! Exclamation mark. Again, to each his own. I personally, it was a fun project for sure, and the dinosaur shots actually looked pretty decent. I was somewhat proud of those dinosaur shots, but all in all, I'm not proud of the Jurassic Park video. There are definitely parts of it that I personally loved, like I did the shot where I was focusing on some leaves and then focused on other people in the background and stuff, and that stuff like that was really fun. It was definitely great, learning experience, that's for sure. But all in all, I am not a huge fan of it myself, but I really appreciate your support in that. Thank you, though, Sean. All right. Let's see. Sean Jones also says Portal. Enough said. That would be fun. I've actually had somebody who asked me for a Portal uh, visual effects tutorial, and I haven't started playing with it yet, but that may be something down the road. It's definitely a very popular subject that a lot of people like. Um, I definitely could see myself doing some Portal stuff in the future. So keep an eye out for that. All right. Let me see. Just reading some questions real quick. Let me see. This is a very good point, also from Sean Jones. He's got several in a row here. He says After Effects is more used in the filmmaking community, thus there are more plugins. HitFilm is more basic and straightforward. This is true. So if you want to just get into compositing, HitFilm is definitely a great place to start. That's another thing I should definitely mention is that After Effects can be very, very in depth, especially if you've never used any compositing software before. But HitFilm can do a lot. That's for sure. Especially considering that it's actually free. I keep forgetting about that. They have got a free version of HitFilm for you to try out a little bit. But yeah, there are a lot more plugins for After Effects, and actually, I don't think you can make presets for HitFilm, but I don't think you can actually make true plugins, which is kind of a plus for After Effects. But the negative for After Effects is the fact that a lot of plugins that you find are at minimum like $100. There are a lot of free ones that some people will put out there, but if you want like a real serious one from like Red Giant or something like that, they're going to run you $100 minimum all the way up to $500, and so it can get very expensive, especially considering that you're already paying like $50 a month for the Creative Cloud, or if you're buying the software, trying to buy the software outright or something like that, which I think you can still do with Adobe. If you're trying to do that, you're paying like $1,000 for the software itself. But Blender is highly used by a lot of people, and you should check out the Blender market because they have got a lot of plugins over there that are really great. But that is a very good point, Sean Jones. Thank you for adding that. Let's see. Kyler Zinn asks, least favorite directors. Quite frankly, I try not to just put people on my hate list. So there aren't, if there's a bad director, I'll know that he's a bad director, but I don't necessarily put him on a list. But least favorite, I mean, you might have to put, because each director has their points where they go and make a great film, and then other points where they make a bad film. Like, for instance, I could say George Lucas. Star Wars. Fantastic film, and it's even held up as one of the greatest films of all times, even when it comes to directorial capability, or you know what I'm saying. I mean, so that's really the thing. Like George Lucas, Star Wars was fantastic. And American Graffiti, I've heard great things about, and I almost bought the other day, but I didn't, and I haven't seen it. Besides those two movies, if I'm not mistaken, every other one that he's directed, a lot of people have considered flops. To include Star Wars 1, 2, and 3 seem to get pretty good reviews. But so I really can't choose 5 that I thought are just bad, because again, you just got some that, unless they have a history of making nothing but bad films, I can't really put them on that list. So, I'm sorry, but I can't really answer that question. All right, and no questions are in quite yet to do again, but definitely can do some more stuff. Let me see. I will be closing up this video within the next 10 minutes or so. So just do keep that in mind. And by the time you're watching this, it's probably already over. Sorry, because the lag seems to have grown a little bit. I don't know why it does that. By the time I ended my last broadcast, it was 20 minutes lag, and I clicked stop broadcast, and it cut off the last 20 minutes of the video. So nobody even saw the last 20 minutes of the broadcast, unfortunately. But so I think if I just hit stop streaming, it should work. So hopefully, I might actually just walk off and let it sit there for a second so you guys can definitely, I don't know. But anyway, let me see, any more questions in? All right, 2 really good questions are now in. One is from Angel, just because he simply asked me to call him just Angel. Let me see. If you were offered to make a movie, what would the theme? What would be the theme? Well, the theme, if you're talking like genre, I personally am a fan of realistic sci-fi action, if that makes sense. And I'm not talking like say like Star Trek Into Darkness, where it feels realistic and all that kind of stuff, but it's sci-fi and it's got action. No, I'm talking more like Mission Impossible. I love that because it borders on the edge of what we can do as human beings today, with technology capabilities and all that kind of stuff. It borders on that and is even built on technologies that are already in discussion or even created and just really expensive. So it has a somewhat sci-fi feeling, but it's based in real life. There's just something about that I just love. Action in general I love. I love fantasy. Fantasy's great, like Lord of the Rings and things of that nature. But let me see, the theme, I don't really know. It depends on the project and if what I was offered to make. Because I could be offered to make, a $70 million sci-fi film, and I could go out and just, make something I truly enjoyed, which I've got several different ideas for some, which I won't tell you guys about because I really want to hold them off because I've gotten several ideas for several different movies that I want to make in the future when I can, but they're not going to be made right now because they are kind of like my babies, and I don't want to make them right now while I don't have the resources yet. So I hope that kind of answers your question. I don't really know the exact theme. Again, it would just depend on what kind of resources I had, who was offering it, what was ready to be put in theaters, because at the time, I mean, who knows? Like right now, nobody wants to make a superhero movie right now because Marvel and DC are going at it hard. So you're not going to find, like, say, in 20th Century Fox trying to put out an original, superhero. So, I mean, it can happen, but it's probably going to end up being a flop and nobody's going to really see it. But if, say there's a lot, like I love World War II films. There's something about those that I love. Like maybe, Fury and Saving Private Ryan. But again, I don't know. Basically, to answer your question, I know I get off on rabbit trails and I'll just start rambling for a little while, but to answer your question very basically, it would depend on the resources and budgeting that I have at the time and what was ready to be put in theaters. So I hope that answers your question. John Hamilton says, save all your work even if you don't like it. That's my philosophy. Well, that's my philosophy too right now. It wasn't when I was 15, and that's why I've lost a lot of my original work. Like, for instance, the company I'm trying to create for visual effects and everything is called Gingman Media Graphics. And Gingman is a name that I made for a little clay stop-motion animated character that I did this little video for. And he became the name of that company, and I don't have the original footage anymore because I deleted it when I was like 15, and I cannot stop kicking myself for that. But yeah. Oh, I just got somebody said Kyler Zinn said, "Whoa, nice car." Thank you, but that tells me that there is probably about a 10-minute lag. I believe 10 minutes is about the lag time. I wish I could really know this. Yeah. All right. So all right, so yes, saving all your work is definitely a great idea because not only can you learn from it in the future, maybe you could even go back and improve things on it, re-edit it. That's something that I would love to be able to do. If I had some of my original footage and all that kind of stuff, I really wish that I had it, even for this kind of fact, I could take that original footage and re-edit it and try to see if I can get a better result. Like, for instance, Speed Racer, the 2008, I believe, remake or live action adaptation for Speed Racer, it was okay. Let me just say that. The raw footage that was used to make that movie, I felt was great. They had all the footage they need to make a great film. But I personally think that movie was somewhat ruined in post-production. The too many experimental wipes and all that kind of stuff. It just, I love the movie. Don't get me wrong. I love the Speed Racer movie, but mostly just because it's Speed Racer. There's something about what they did in post-production that didn't work. But all the raw footage, and I've gone to behind the scenes and looked up raw footage and all that kind of stuff in the movie, they had the raw footage to make it a absolutely phenomenal film, and the script was great. The directors, they made The Matrix. Obviously, they've got what it takes to make a fantastic film, but just something about just what they did in post-production just didn't work for me. But again, I digress. Kyler Zinn asks about my car. Does she have a name? Yes, she is a girl named Monty. And I know that's a little interesting because Monty is typically a guy's name, but it's a Monte Carlo, and I tried for months to try different names and everything, but I keep coming back to her. Her name is Monty. All right, let me see. John Hamilton asks your thoughts on open source compositing software Natron. Fantastic. When I first found this program, I literally I wish I could do this. Let me see. I'll try to reenact my face when I found out about Natron. I think that does it. Like, I was blown away to see that there is a standalone node-based compositing video editor that looked this good, and it was built around the same kind of UI idea as Nuke, which is a phenomenal, highly used piece of software within all of Hollywood. So to see that, wow, fantastic. But the reason why I haven't used it extensively is a lot of it is because for some reason I'm going to have to re-download it, reinstall it, really try this again. But it, even with an MP4 file, which is basically the most basic kind of file you can use for video, it won't allow me to import. It won't allow me to import PNGs. And I've got FFmpeg installed. I've got all the libraries that I need or should need to import this footage, but for some reason it's just not letting me do it. So I haven't even been able to use Natron as much as I have wanted to, and I started working on a Natron versus Blender video a while back, but reasons such as that is what ran into me not being able to complete it. But Natron really is a fantastic program, and I definitely recommend you check it out if you haven't already. Let me see. Also from John Hamilton, got a lot of repeat questions, which is fantastic. He says, "Did you?" Oh wait, no. What are you using to stream this? What are you using to stream this? OBS? Yes. Let me go ahead and I'll go ahead and full screen this for you. Here it is. This is OBS. It is doing an absolutely phenomenal job. I think it's due to the internet that there's such a lag and the video quality is a little bit of a problem. But as you can see, I'm streaming at a pretty steady 1300 to 1100. You know, it's bouncing around a little bit, kilobits per second. I've got all these different points. I've got a fader right here, so I can change back and forth to different cameras and everything. And let me say that. So, as you may know, I've mentioned this already in the video. I've been working at a local TV station now for a little while, and let me just say that, especially after using OBS for this, it is astonishing, I should say. It is astonishing what OBS can do. At my work, we're using Avid for many systems and ROS and things like that. Some very high-end professional programs. And OBS is almost holding right up there with it. And I even was looking, there's abilities for rundowns and direct coding and all that kind of stuff that I'm having to use at work, which is amazing. So OBS is doing a fantastic job. It has fading. It even has a studio mode where you can have your preview right here and what's live right here, which is phenomenal. Phenomenal to have that ability. So yeah, OBS is doing a great job, and within the past few versions especially, they've added stability, which is a big thing that they pushed. I cannot thank the developers enough for pushing stability on a project like OBS. Because when you are live streaming, if you have a glitch in the software, it's over. There's nothing you can do. So they have really pushed hard to have very good stability within OBS. It's done a phenomenal job, and it really has. So, yeah. Let's see. Okay, let me see. This question is from, let me see, Sean Jones asks, are you planning to have any hosts join you besides the usual? I believe he's talking about, like, for instance, Michael Saka, often co-hosts. I've got a couple of other people in the film group who I'm trying to get involved. But the answer is yes. I am definitely I'm wanting to get some other people involved in Film World. That's something big that I'm looking forward to with Season 4, hopefully, is I want to start filming way ahead of time of uploading and everything so that I can get other people involved. Again, more narrative short films will be attempted, or not attempted, they'll be made. And you'll be along for that. They'll be behind the scenes. I want to bring on people from the film group. I got one person who's wanting to do set design. We've been talking about some stuff about set design, things like that. Which I'm really excited. I really am liking the idea of doing some set design stuff. That I could definitely see being a lot of fun. So, yeah, I definitely want to bring on some other hosts, and I want to bring on another show, hopefully, with another host. But a lot of that is going to depend on whether I can find somebody who is able to really be a little bit consistent and treat Film World like it was their own. And be able to do it for next to no money, because right now Film World is not a huge source of, is not a very big revenue source for money or anything like that. So I wouldn't be able to pay them, which for a lot of people that's a big problem, and it would be for me too. But a lot of it just comes down to I need to be able to find somebody who would do that themselves. But yes, I do want to bring on more hosts and co-hosts in the near future. Let's see. Are you going? Nicholas Hamilton asks, "Are you going to post this on Film World?" If he's talking about the live broadcast, yes, because this is going directly to the Film World YouTube channel right after it is done. All right. Let's see. Okay, good one from John Hamilton. Did you know OpenShot Video Editor has an update like a week ago? Like, yeah, I know this stuff. I keep on top of it. Don't worry. That's kind of like my job right now, honestly, is keeping on top of all that stuff. And yes, it is. OpenShot is doing some great stuff. The reason why I haven't gone to OpenShot completely, and really I haven't used it a whole lot, because its interface. Even with 2.0, 2.0 is absolutely fantastic. That's almost undeniable. But its interface is not totally... I love a flat interface. That's something I love about Kdenlive. And even Pitivi, I believe, has it. Flowblade to a point. But Premiere is like this. Final Cut Pro. So, like, OpenShot's interface feels a little bit... how do I say this? It doesn't feel like I could sit in it for hours and hours on end trimming a feature-length project. or maybe even a 10-20 minute YouTube video. Kdenlive has really delivered as far as being a great video editor that's stable. Mostly I've had a couple of small stability problems, but honestly it's only been like 2 or 3 times. Really, yeah, it's only been about 2 or 3 times that I've had any kind of real stability problems with Kdenlive. But I just feel like within Kdenlive, I feel like I could do a feature-length project. Recently, I did a freelance realty job, or not realty. This guy owned some townhomes, and he wanted a freelance. He wanted a video done for them. So I came in and I did a 22-minute, I believe it was, video with him going all through his house, and he hired me to do that, and within a week I had it all edited, and I did it all in Kdenlive. And it did a phenomenal job. I don't think I had a single crash, any kind of a freeze or glitch. It just did great. And I had all the effects I needed at my fingertips right there within Kdenlive, and of course I jumped into... No, I didn't. Man, for that project, I didn't jump into Blender once, which is really saying something for Kdenlive. So yeah, OpenShot is a great project, and if you want to use them, that is definitely a good idea, because it really is a great project. 2.0 especially has added so many great features. But for me personally, I'm just a Kdenlive guy. That's just who I am. That's what I do. I love Kdenlive. But yeah, Nicholas Hamilton says, I have a big hate list, and I think he's talking about directors. Again, a lot of I really should say that there are a lot of movies I don't like. But directors themselves, a lot of those movies I don't like. I can also name a movie that they made that I love. So that's just really what it comes down to. Man, guys, questions are still coming. I can't thank you enough. Thank you very much for joining. I gotta be cutting it within the next 2 or 3 minutes. I'm very sorry. Time's starting to come up. I think we've been doing this now for, let's see, an hour and 17 minutes. So it's been a fantastic, great live broadcast, and I thank you guys very much for joining me. I'm your host, Micah Pendleton. Remember, dream big, pay small. I will catch you in the return of Season 3 of Premiere Prep, coming in just a few weeks. I'll catch you next time.